Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith at TV. It's time for News Central now, and here are the top stories at this hour. The court sentenced Lagos BRT driver to death by hanging over Bamise Ayanwola's murder. Education Minister opens probe into alleged student loan violations. United Nations bemoans killings as toll rises in Sudan's Darfur. Details shortly. And we'll begin with judicial matters. The Lagos State High Court, sitting at the Tafawa Balewa Square, has sentenced Andrew Nice Ominikoron, a driver of the Lagos Bus Rapid Transit BRT, to death by hanging for killing Bamise Ayanwola, a 22-year-old fashion designer. Sherifat Sonaike, the trial judge, gave the verdict on Friday. The court had on March 6th reserved judgment in the case against the driver, who was accused of raping and murdering 22-year-old fashion designer in 2022. Justice Sherifat Sonaike fixed Friday, May 2nd, 2025, for the verdict after both the prosecution and the defense adopted their final written addresses. In the meantime, the Federal High Court in Abuja has once again adjourned the trial of the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. After appearing before the court on Friday, the trial was adjourned to the 6th of May 2025. Now, the court, presided over by Justice James Omotosho, had earlier authorized the use of masked witnesses. At the last sitting, a masked witness identified as AAA testified about Kanu's arrest at a hotel in Lagos. Evidence the defense was expected to contest on Friday. Kanu's lead counsel, Kanu Agabi, presented a 22-member legal team, although the judge permitted only 13 to participate. Four senior advocates of Nigeria have now joined the defense. Kanu faces terrorism and treason charges dating back to 2015. However, the case has been repeatedly delayed, including due to his controversial rearrest in Kenya in 2021.
We started our cross-examination today, and for hours ran, and I guess we have made progress. We're getting there. The matter is set down for Tuesday, the continuation of cross-examination, and of course for new other witnesses to come. We believe, like we said last week, making progress. The trial is going on in a very continual approach.
Meanwhile, Justice Iyangekwor, the judge assigned to hear the case involving Aisha Shimogu, has been suspended by the National Judicial Council. Now, according to the NJC, Justice Ekwor delivered a ruling in a criminal case without hearing from the parties involved, an act deemed a serious breach of judicial conduct. The council added that the judge failed to properly identify the parties reference in his ruling. As a result, Justice Ekwor has been handed a 1-year suspension, placed on a 5-year watch list, and barred from career progression for the same duration. Let's also tell you that the Ministry of Education has launched an investigation into alleged illegal deductions from institutional fees paid by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund on behalf of beneficiaries of the student loan scheme. Education Minister Tunji Alausa described the reported infractions in the loan disbursement process as, quote, very disturbing and extremely concerning, end quote. However, NEL Fund has maintained that no funds have been mismanaged, stolen, or left unaccounted for under the scheme. The student loan scheme was introduced by President Bola Tinubu to provide indigent students with easier access to higher education. To date, NEL Fund has disbursed a total of 53 billion naira to students. Earlier, business and public policy analyst Kenneth Ikenwa joined me to discuss this development. Take a look.
This is not the first time this alleged problems, alleged malpractices are, coming on scene. We had complaints like this back in the 70s, and we had issues where even the loans that were disbursed to the various beneficiaries were never, paid back. So it boils down to the mechanisms and the structures that were actually put in place, hoping that they were not put in place to score political points, but actually to benefit the teeming millions of indigent students that do not actually have access to funds, but actually have the mental and intellectual faculty to want to get educated at the tertiary level. But I'm still monitoring the reportage on the subject matter. It is still hearsay. It is we did this, we didn't do this, and there are a couple of discrepancies in the figures. But whilst we would appreciate the initiation of this program, this beautiful, smart, strategic initiative, I think it's also a welcome development, and it's a new leaf that we can say, a new branch that is growing in Nigeria, where malpractice like this are brought to the fore, whistles are blown about it, and then quick action is taken.
And now to security matters. The Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, has called for increased support from the United States in intelligence sharing, counter-terrorism efforts, and the enhancement of military capabilities to address the country's growing security challenges. Matawalle disclosed this while receiving Major General Garrick Harmon, Director for Strategy, Engagement and Programs at the United States Africa Command, AFRICOM, during a courtesy visit to the Ministry of Defense headquarters, Ship House in Abuja. Major General Harmon is in Nigeria as part of a familiarization tour in his current role within AFRICOM. According to a statement from the Ministry of Defense, Matawalle emphasized the need to deepen the defense partnership between Nigeria and the United States, highlighting the importance of collaboration in overcoming shared security threats and enhancing regional stability. To discuss this, we're joined by former Director, Department of State Services, Dennis Amakri. Mr. Amakri, it's good to have you join us. We appreciate you for coming on. Let's just get started, shall we? How would you assess the credibility and relevance of intelligence received from foreign and federal partners in a counter-terrorism operation?
Thank you very much for having me. It's in our solutions to solving the terrorism situation in Nigeria, we've always said that international support is also needed. It's also needed in doing this. But right now, we have AFRICOM. AFRICOM has been around. That's African Command of the United States Army has been around. But they were lagging, and they didn't come out very, very clearly. People didn't trust them, and now they are coming again. And I hope this time they are going to, come in with all honesty in dealing with the insecurity problem in Africa.
I'm glad we're talking about, bringing all honesty and transparency to the table, because it begs to ask the question about, potential legal or even diplomatic challenges in this U.S. and Nigeria counterterrorism cooperation that they might encounter along the way. Can you, just name a few for us?
Yeah, the United States AFRICOM. What I'm saying about honesty and then, of course, sincerity is that we want them to go beyond the national interest. We know normally for a foreign country to bring their military into any country is because of national interest or influence. And that is what the United States is doing right now, is because of influence and interest. And of course, they are competing seriously with China, which is also gaining serious grounds in Africa. But why is it that United States, which is the traditional, should I say, partner to Nigeria, lagging behind? It's because of this mistrust that they have. People don't really think that they are coming there to help, because where they have even been before has not even succeeded. In Mali, they were there for many years, and the terrorist situation worsened. Even in Niger, they have the biggest base in Agadez, and they couldn't help Niger until now. So that's what I mean. If they are coming, let's see some kind of sincerity and trust with them.
Right. I mean, one has to ask at this point the process, or the transition from raw intelligence that is being guarded, whether at the grassroots or, whichever, into actionable threat, indicators. What are the tools and framework do they use in sort of this transition between raw intelligence to actionable threat indicators?
Well, you see, the United States is a very, very much advanced country. And then their technology, of course, is very, very good when we come to surveillance and all kinds of technological aid that will help in dealing with terrorism. So basically, people can collect intelligence, human intelligence, by people on ground. You talk to people, they will tell you, hunters or all kinds of people will tell you. But we've moved away from that, whereby we're using satellites now. And the United States has thousands of satellites in the sky, where they can actually track people down to street level to see the car number of a car. They can do that. And then, of course, when we have Boko Haram, a terrorist group like Boko Haram harassing us for many, many years, I think we expect this partnership to help in such a way that we should be able to clear them out. But to be playing around, and then, of course, sometimes there is this accusation even coming from the United States Congress that some funds have been used in funding Boko Haram from the United States, USAID. We need things like that to be investigated properly. And then, of course, that's why I mean there should be trust, come out clean, and then, of course, we will leverage on the technological superiority that they have to clear out the terrorists in Africa. And
there's also a risk of, the risk of intelligence leakage or backdoor access, by foreign contractors or analysts or, state actors. How can Nigeria not only assess but mitigate, such risks?
Well, intelligence leakage will always be there. That's why even in computers, you have firewalls. You make sure that you are very, very safe. Sometimes even we have double agents who can be giving information to both sides because of money, pecuniary reasons. But for any intelligence agency like we have in Nigeria, NIA and DSS, I think they will always continue tightening, because it is not we have it all covered. No, it is a continuous exercise in watching those firewalls, watching all those leakages to see that they don't happen again for better results.
All right. I must say thank you so much, sir, for joining us all the way from New York, USA, to give us a bit of insight following this collaboration between the U.S. and Nigeria as the head of AFRICOM comes in for a familiarization tour of our resources. Once again, thank you, Mr. Dennis Amatri. He is the former Director, Department of State Services. Let's go on a short break, shall we? When we return, the President of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, has arrived Katsina State to begin a two-day official visit. We'll tell you all about this just after the break. Stay with us. And you're welcome back. President Bola Tinubu arrived Katsina on Friday to begin a two-day official visit. The president commissioned the Katsina Agricultural Mechanized Center and a 24-kilometer dual carriageway completed by Governor Diko Rada. The President Tinubu, is expected also to honor an invitation to attend the wedding of the governor's daughter before returning to Abuja. The Katsina State Governor had declared Friday a work-free day to allow civil servants to participate in welcoming President Tinubu to the state. And now joining us for more insight on this visit is our correspondent live from Katsina, Jamil Mabai. Jamil, the president is visiting your state. What's the latest? Give me the update.
Thank you very much for having me. The president touched down the airport at around 4:44 or 4:45 around that time. And he was received by, Governor Rata and other governors, especially from the northeastern part of Nigeria, and also the party chairman, Abdullah Umar Ganduje was also in attendance, and some dignitaries, from the other neighboring states. And the president is expected to spend 2 days in Katsina, and while in Katsina, like you earlier mentioned, he's going to commission a 23-kilometer carriage, road, and Katsina Agricultural Mechanized Center, which is expected to, come up with creative and innovative ways to help the agricultural sector in the state. And in terms of, turnout, to my surprise, the turnout was a bit much, but not what we expected. And given the fact that, Katsina is a state, having, battling insecurity, you have people coming from far local government that are even battling insecurity coming to welcome Katsina. But one of the key moments for me was I interviewed one resident, and I asked him, why was he here to welcome the president? He told me that genuinely he was here to welcome the president because he was able to achieve two things under President Tinubu. He was able to add another wife, to marry another wife, and he was able to, his business also got a boost. So, and he was honest with his answer. So this is just a summary of what the president will be doing in Katsina. And one thing I forgot also, the president will be the one giving the governor's daughter hand in marriage, which is happening tomorrow by 2 p.m. And I think that concludes the president's visits after that. And also he's expected to meet stakeholders, senior stakeholders, elder statesmen, and later tonight, where security issues are going to be discussed, which is also another key point or key issue that has been bothering Katsina. And with the latest development coming out from the southern part of Katsina, especially Dandumi, with revelations, involving military, activities, abating banditry activities along that region. So I think there will be a lot more issues that will be discussed during the stakeholder security engagement. This is what we have so far.
I mean, Jamil, it's not lost on me that, in fact, the fact that your respondent is happy about the president because he gets to add another wife, or that the president is in the state for a wedding to give us a bride. I don't know which. No, I mean, good for him because, I mean, I'm also single. Maybe I should be more happy. Maybe then I would find a groom. Who knows? But Jamil, thank you so much. We look forward to that security stakeholder meeting. It's by far should be on the top of the list when it comes to his visit. If it's a wedding that brings the president to Katsina to talk about security, we'll take it anyway. But Jamil, thank you. Jamil Mabai is our correspondent live for Katsina, giving us the full itinerary for the president's visit. You're welcome. And switch gears now, as tensions have resurfaced in the ongoing Kano Emirship dispute, as officers of the Nigeria police have laid siege to the official residence of the Galadiman Kano, located in the Galadin Sea area of Gale local government area of Katsina State. Now, News Central's correspondent reports that police officers surrounded the premises overnight and remained stationed there, blocking all access routes into the compound. The heavy security presence has drawn significant public attention, with multiple patrol vehicles spotted within and around the vicinity. Now, residents told News Central that the security deployment coincides with preparations for a traditional escort ceremony. Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, is expected to accompany Galadiman Kano Manir Sanusi. Meanwhile, a rival installation and carnival-like traditional escort ceremony is also being held for Galadima Abbas Sanusi, appointed by rival Emir Aminu Ado Bayero. There's only one kingdom for one king. In the meantime, let's move now to Abia State, where workers in Abia State are lamenting the persistent economic hardship that they face daily despite the introduction of a new minimum wage. Speaking to our correspondent in Umuahia, several workers expressed frustration, saying that no amount of minimum wage can cushion the current economic strain, as the present figure still falls short of meeting their basic needs. They're calling on the government to reconsider the removal of fuel subsidy, which they believe is fueling inflation and worsening the cost of living. We'll bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. In the meantime, following the protests in Nigeria's federal capital on May the 23rd, to the Ministry of Justice by the concerned citizens against corruption, calling for the probe and the prosecution of the former Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Male Kyari. The group has made a U-turn, withdrawing all allegations against the former NNPC Limited chief. Now, the group, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, however, says that it will not change its stance against the need to tackle corruption in public offices, but has changed its current position about Kyari, now following new evidence available at its disposal. It adds that it will give the federal government more time to implement demands made during the protests, requesting more efforts against graft.
If some misguided individuals go out there and speak, let it be known that they are not speaking for us and not speaking on our behalf. We've maintained our position. The earlier ultimatum we have given, we have withdrawn it, because we need to give the government time to implement whatever decision it deemed appropriate and necessary. And we will continue to stand with this administration. We will continue to support Mr. President, especially some of us that come from the northern part of the country.
The FCT Police Command says that 21 suspected stolen vehicles have been recovered following the arrest of 15 suspected car thieves in April alone. The police commissioner, Ajao Adewale, made this known in the nation's capital, Abuja, saying that some of the cars have been returned back to their rightful owners. He also added that during an extensive raid on suspected criminal hideouts within the period under review, over 1,600 additional suspects were arrested for various offenses, with several exhibits recovered from them.
Out of the recovered vehicles, 6 have been returned to their rightful owner after due verification, while 30 vehicles are being paraded here today. You can see them behind us there. Additionally, the command conducted extensive raid across several hotspots, resulting in the arrest of 1,611 suspects, many of whom are linked to drug-related offenses and other criminal activities. Substantial quantity of hard drugs, cannabis and all the like, were recovered during this operation, and they are part of what you will see here today.
Let's circle back to Abia State, where workers in the state are lamenting the persistent economic hardship they face daily, despite the introduction of the new minimum wage. Now, speaking to our correspondent in Umuahia, several workers expressed frustration, saying that no amount of minimum wage can cushion the current economic strain, as the present figure still falls short of meeting their basic needs. They're calling on the government to reconsider the removal of fuel subsidy, which they believe is fueling inflation and worsening the cost of living.
But if only the government will at least to raise the standard, if not global standard, but somehow close to what is obtainable outside the country, no longer keeping people, not just training people for the global market. Our nurses would still love to stay in their environment because it's your home to do the work, but what they take home is not enough.
And these are issues that the workers are not comfortable with. You know, the cost of food items here. You know, the issue of fuel subsidy. You know how much a worker pays to come to his workplace. You understand? Not to talk of other bills, electricity bills and all that. But he needs to look at what is the problem with the workers. Are they satisfied?
Inflation has taken this moment. that's why we're saying like Oliver Twist. We are also asking for more. Because right now it has not lasted up to 1 year, people are still crying. But at the same time, we appreciate what the government has done, but it has not yielded its desired result. Because if you look at the workers, if you interact personally with them, particularly my neighbors, you discover that that has not given them what they needed. And I see the issue is this: if you don't control this issue of prices, and the issue of the valuation of our currency. Even if we add 1 million, it will still swallow it.
In other news, Governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, attended the burial of former Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Patrick Adaba, at Okene on Friday. The governor extended his heartfelt condolences to the family of the late deputy governor. He described the late politician as a dedicated public servant who served the state with distinction. Adaba, who served as the deputy governor of Kogi State between 1999 to 2023, died in Abuja on March 10th at the age of 78. Born in 1946, Adaba attended public schools and later graduated in 1971 from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, with a Bachelor of Arts in History and Political Science, along with a combined graduate certificate in education. The Ogori people of Kogi State is celebrating the annual Ovia Osese Festival, a significant cultural event that honors the transition of young girls into womanhood and fosters communal unity. Held 2 weeks after Easter, the week-long festival attracts Ogori individuals from across the globe to the Ogori Mangogo local government area. It is widely recognized as a vibrant expression of the community's cultural identity. At the heart of the celebration is the initiation of teenage girls required to be virgins into womanhood. Under the guidance of an elder woman, the initiates receive teachings on moral conduct, marital responsibilities, and also cultural traditions. Dressed in traditional attires, the girls are then formally introduced to the community through the symbolic Oke dance. Beyond the initiation, the festival also features sporting events, cultural performances, and beauty pageants, making it a colorful and unifying occasion. And now to health matters. In a bid to improve child health and reduce preventable deaths, the Borno State Primary Healthcare Development Agency has joined forces with the Zawis initiative to launch a Give Well Child Health campaign. The House to House campaign provides a timely vitamin A supplementation and also conduct malnutrition screenings and encourage healthier lifestyle practices. News Central's Umar Kirawa completes the report.
Child mortality remains a significant public health concern in underserved communities across Nigeria. According to the Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey, approximately 1 in 24 infants die within the first month of life, and 1 in 11 children die before their 5th birthday. The infant mortality rate in Nigeria is 69 deaths per 1,000, as under 5 mortality is 107 deaths per 1,000 births. In Borno State, an intervention designed to address key child health issues, including malnutrition and vitamin deficiencies, has been launched.
The child health is very important, and for us to take care of them, we must know when they are ill, and we must know their needs, and we must feed them as well. For those that are less than 6 months, they should breastfeed them exclusively for the 6 months without giving water or any other liquids unless it's medically indicated.
At the end of the day, we will be able to achieve a lot because 6 LGS are going to be implementing this particular program, and the very important is going to run concurrently for 3 months. And within the 3 months, there is going to be a lot of enlightenments among the communities, and in all the LGS, there is one ward that is going to implement.
These interventions are crucial as many children in rural areas suffer from preventable health issues due to limited access to medical care.
Whenever they are sick, they should take them to hospital, not to the chemist and go and just buy drugs and come and give them. Will not solve the problem. So my message is to them: they should take care of their child, they should feed them frequently, and also take them to hospital whenever there is need.
When we are able to prevent, then the rate at which children will be malnourished will going to be very limited. And if we are able to prevent, I know that it will going to go a long way in addressing the kind of indicators that we have when it comes to number of malnourished children in the state and of course across the northern Nigeria in general.
The campaign's emphasis on evidence-based health interventions is expected to be a game changer in the state's effort to combat child malnutrition and reduce preventable health issues among children under 5. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umar Kirawa.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. Coming up, South African mother found guilty of selling young daughter. We'll tell you all about this just after the break. Join us again. Thank you. Welcome back. Earlier, we told you that President Bola Tinubu had arrived Katsina on Friday to begin a 2-day official visit. The president commissioned the Katsina Agricultural Mechanized Center and a 24-kilometer dual carriageway completed by Governor Diko Rada. The President Tinubu, is expected also to honor the invitation to attend the wedding of the governor's daughter before returning to Abuja. The Katsina State Governor has declared Friday a work-free day to allow civil servants to participate in welcoming President Tinubu to the state. A South African court on Friday found a woman guilty of trafficking her 6-year-old daughter, who has been missing for more than a year, in a case that has outraged the nation. The 2-month trial heard statements from various witnesses that Raquel Kelly Smith had revealed to them that she had sold her daughter Jocelyn in February of 2024, including claims that she was paid 20,000 rand, equivalent to $1,000.85, or rather $1,085. Now, Judge Nathan Erasmus said the evidence of 35 state witnesses led him to find that Smith, 35 years old, and her 2 co-accused, a boyfriend and a mutual friend, were guilty on the charges of human trafficking and kidnapping.
I believe that the state succeeded in doing the deed of Mr. Paul's conveyance on May 21.
Because my grandchild is still missing. I don't know where my grandchild is. I just want my grandchild back. So there's nothing else. I just want my grandchild back. It doesn't matter how long they are going to sit in jail, but my grandchild is still gone.
Uganda's military chief, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has sparked international outrage after claiming on social media that he had abducted and is torturing Eddie Mutwi, the bodyguard to opposition leader Bobi Wine. Now, in a series of disturbing posts on X, Kainerugaba, who serves as army chief and is also the son of the president of Uganda, said Mutwi was being held in his basement and hinted at further acts of violence. The National Unity Platform, Wine's political party, had reported Mutwi missing since 27th of April, accusing Uganda's elite special forces of orchestrating his disappearance. This incident adds to growing international concern over a spat of abductions targeting opposition figures in Uganda. A new United Nations report have warned that more than 540 people have been killed in Sudan's Darfur region in just 3 weeks. Now, this is as the paramilitary rapid support forces escalate their offensive for control of Al-Fasher. Meanwhile, in Khartoum, the RSF launched another round of shelling on Thursday, targeting the presidential palace. This marks the second strike on the capital in under a week. The attack, carried out using long-range artillery from Al-Salha across the White Nile, signals the RSF's closest push toward the palace since government troops retook the city in March. No casualties were immediately reported. You're watching news now on News Central Television. Still ahead. Gaza humanitarian aid ship bombed in waters of Malta. We'll tell you all about this just after the break. Join us again. Welcome back. A ship carrying humanitarian aid to Gaza has been struck by drones overnight in the Mediterranean Sea off the coast of Malta, setting the vessel ablaze and causing it to take on water. According to the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, the 1,000-ton vessel Conscience sent out a distress signal in the early hours of Friday after it was targeted by drones while sailing in international waters, roughly 60 miles from Malta's coast. The coalition stated that the aid mission had been carried out under a media blackout in a bid to reduce what it described as the risk of Israeli sabotage, though no evidence was provided to support the claim. In a press release, the group said all communication with the vessel had been lost following the attack. In the meantime, the international community of the Red Cross has warned that the humanitarian response in Gaza is on the verge of total collapse as severe aid restrictions remain in place. Now, Israel has blocked the entry of essential supplies into the densely populated Palestinian territory for nearly 2 months. Relief organizations report a sharp deterioration in access of food, water, and medical services, with key programs at risk of shutting down entirely. The ICRC says aid kitchens and field hospitals are now critically low on resources. Now, the blockade imposed in early March has coincided with an escalation in violence and repeated damage to healthcare infrastructure. Aid workers have also come under attack, raising urgent concerns about the safety of humanitarian operations. Nigeria's external position is facing renewed challenges, with foreign reserves declining from $40.87 billion in December 2024 to $38.31 billion by March of 2025. Now, this drop signals increased capital outflows, highlighting growing domestic vulnerabilities and external pressures linked to President Trump's renewed energy and protectionist policies. Globally, various risks and policy shifts are emerging, including rising protectionism, the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict, as well as tensions in the Middle East and a transition to renewable energy, fluctuating commodity prices, and a turndown in global capital markets. Now, Business Edge, Kenneth Irukume, who is a partner at PwC Nigeria, has shared his insights on which of these factors he believes poses the greatest threat to Nigeria's economy. Take a look.
I believe poses the most risk from our perspective. The first one is the tariff wars, if I can call it that. And again, from the U.S., one of our important trade partners imposing a 14% additional tariff on imports from Nigeria. Already, we're struggling with a trade deficit with the U.S. And what that therefore means is that Nigerian goods become more expensive when we get it out to American consumers. And you're in a global market, and there's that competition. If other nations within Africa or elsewhere are able to give their product at lower tariffs, that gives them a competitive edge already. So we're going to see a massive risk from that perspective, except if the government is able to unlock and go and negotiate.
17-year-old Nigeria Adama Abdul-Jabbar delivered a standout performance at the 16th Africa Junior Swimming Championship in Cairo, breaking the African junior record in the men's 50-meter freestyle with a time of 22 minutes 54 seconds, or rather 22.54 seconds. Now, this marked his second gold medal of the competition, having earlier upgraded a bronze in the 100-meter freestyle to gold with a 59.80-second swim. Nigeria's strong showing continued with Kashokwe Obatoibo, who finished 6th in the 50-meter freestyle, while Ayobami White and Demilade Akambi and Oluwatimileyin also posted impressive results. Now, with multiple 10-8 finishes and Abdul-Jabbar's medal haul, Nigeria sits third on the medal table behind South Africa and Egypt. The performance highlights the country's growing investment in junior swimming. Eric Dier will leave Bayern Munich when his contract expires on June 30th. The club's sporting director confirmed on Friday. The 31-year-old Englishman joined Bayern on loan in January of 2024 before signing a one-year permanent deal that summer. While no longer a regular under new coach Vincent Kompany, Dier has played a crucial role covering for injured defenders. Bayern hopes to extend his contract briefly to include the FIFA Club World Cup in June. Now, the former Tottenham centre-back clapped 49 times for England, or rather, he capped 49 times for England, and is reportedly set to join AS Monaco on a deal through 2027. There, Eric aims to end his short Bayern stint with a title as the season concludes. And that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Court has sentenced Lagos BRT driver to death by hanging over Bamise Ayanwola's murder. Education Minister has opened probe into alleged student loan violations. And we also told you that United Nations has bemoaned killings as toll rises in Sudan's Darfur. Now, do remember that you can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can always watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422. We're now on GoTV. Find us on channel 23. We're also on Star Times channel 274. Find us on Avo TV, or better yet, you can stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith, the TV. Bye for now.